All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you today. And what we're seeing right now is some 30K Bitcoin. So what's causing this dumpening? Why this 20% dump from 40 or 41K? Maybe a little bit more. Still haven't seen those 2017 level dumpage. But I don't think that's going to happen with all the institutional money. But again, just sort of another day in crypto when it comes to this 20 or 25% dump. Nothing new. Been there, done that. This would have been an oh boy, what did Craig Wright do now? Main article video. However, we're going to save that for later. So make sure you stick around for that because it's going to be so good. I promise, as usual. It always is. But we want to talk about this FUD news going around. We've got a lot of FUD lately. Bitcoin falls 11% after reports suggest a critical flaw in the cryptocurrency called double spend may have occurred. And again, this is from Business Insider, this particular article. So, of course, they're going to oversimplify cryptocurrency. So we're going to skip over a couple things. But Bitcoin fell as much as 11% on Thursday, hitting its lowest levels in nearly 3 weeks as the popular cryptocurrency, just so popular, was hit with a double whammy that jointed faith in its user base. So, bitmex at one point here tweeted that it appears as if a small double spend of around $21 was detected. Bitmex later said it appeared that the double spend was actually an RBF transaction, which is when an unconfirmed Bitcoin transaction is replaced with a new transfer paying a higher fee. But BitMEX Fork Monitor said that no RBF fee bumps had been detected. BitMEX said in another tweet, a transaction in the losing chain sent 62,000 Satoshis to the address yada yada, and a transaction in the winning chain which spent the same inputs only 14,000 Satoshi to this address. So ultimately, the double spend did not occur, according to Bitfinex CTO Paolo Arduano. In an email to Insider, Arduano explained, in fact, what happened is that two blocks were mined simultaneously. As a consequence, there was a chain reorganization, which did not result in a double spending. Meanwhile, institutional investors continue to gain exposure to Bitcoin, and filings with the SEC Commission on Wednesday said BlackRock had enabled two of its mutual funds to invest in cryptocurrency. So that's sort of other news in that BlackRock, an investment firm, I think one of the biggest, if not like the biggest, has enabled some of its funds to be invested in cryptocurrency, although I did read that they can only invest fiat into cryptocurrency, which you might be confused by that. I think they can only do like cash-backed futures like CME. However, that could change in the future, and any buying, I suppose, is good buying, but CME doesn't really do the job too much. So that was some of the FUD that was going around, and that caused a dumpening in the price today as that FUD came out, and basically BitMEX said that there was a double spend when there really wasn't. So fake news once again in the crypto world. And you know what? It kind of actually makes sense that BitMEX said that. It's a conspiratorial side of me, which is almost certainly untrue. Probably tweeted that just to FUD the price down so that they could just wreck a bunch of people in future shorts or, like margin shorts. But, that's just a conspiracy side of me. But either way, some more FUD bringing down the price. Biden treasury pick Janet Yellen, and she warns cryptocurrency poses terrorism risk. Of course they do. This is basically what everybody says that has no understanding of cryptocurrency. Now, has cryptocurrency been used in the black market? Probably. Oh, yeah, for sure. But the relation of actual money being used on the black market compared to cryptocurrency is actually pretty small. So, Janet Yellen, who's expected to lead the Treasury Department for the incoming Biden administration, described cryptocurrency as a particular concern when it comes to terrorist financing. Yellen made the remark during her Senate confirmation hearing in response to a question from Senator Hassan, who asked about the potential for terrorists and criminals to use cryptocurrency to finance their activities. She says, I think many cryptocurrencies are used, at least in a transaction sense. Yeah, what else would you use them for? But okay. Mainly for illicit financing. Mainly? I don't know about that. I've never used it for illicit financing. Not yet, anyway. Maybe I'm thinking about it, though. And I think we really need to examine ways in which we can curtail their use and make sure that anti-money laundering doesn't occur through those channels. But the big, gigantic banks that transact $1 trillion a day. They literally money launder. They get caught money laundering like once a month. You see it in the news, and then their fine is just some fraction. It would be like the equivalent of you like tearing down the road at 200 miles an hour, and then you get pulled over, and the cop gives you a ticket for like $25. It's just a very small price to pay. They get fined an absolute fraction of their total income, and it doesn't really cover much. But I think wasn't it said that like 90% of dollar bills have cocaine on them? So that's some more FUD going around. So nobody really knows who this former chair or what this former Federal Reserve chairwoman is going to do as Treasury. So basically, all the cabinet figures of the president, the president's going to bring up a topic to her and be like, hey, what should we do about this cryptocurrency? What should we do? Like I'm hearing this all over. And then that's what the cabinet is for. And she's going to be like, oh yeah, like, well, we need to do this or that or the other thing. We need to have Congress put some regulation or something like that. And that could be bad. I've also heard Janet Yellen likes to spend a lot of money. She said that, in her time as the Federal Reserve chairwoman, that she didn't spend enough at the time and that she was too conservative with her money. And then we had Steve Mnuchin, who is very conservative with the Federal Reserve, or at least kind of. I mean, I guess we had the most inflation we've ever had in 2020, but still, other politicians wanted a lot more money for the stimulus and stuff like that, and various packages and whatnot. And Janet Yellen was basically saying she didn't spend enough. So now she's probably going to want to spend a lot. So it's hard to say what her exact stance is, but throwing these words around that they pose terrorist risk or money laundering it's probably not a good start. Probably not a good start at all, but we'll have to see in the future. So moving on to oh boy, what did Craig Wright do now? Because Craig Wright, he did some more things. So strap into your seats. Yesterday, both Bitcoin.org and BitcoinCore.org received allegations of copyright infringement of the Bitcoin white paper by lawyers representing Craig Stephen Wright. In this letter, they claim Craig owns the copyright to the paper, the Bitcoin name, and ownership of Bitcoin.org. They also claim he is Satoshi Nakamoto, the pseudonymous creator of Bitcoin, which I suppose you would have to be in order to even claim any kind of copyright, even though Bitcoin isn't copyright. So I don't know if this is even a thing, but it's real. And the original owner of Bitcoin.org, Bitcoin.org, and BitcoinCore.org were both asked to take down the white paper. We believe these claims are without merit and refused to do so. This is literally from Bitcoin.org. Unfortunately, without consulting us, Bitcoin Core developers scrambled to remove the Bitcoin white paper from the BitcoinCore.org in response to these allegations of copyright infringement, lending credence to these false claims. So apparently, the Bitcoin Core developers got a little bit of that FUD. They got to experience a little bit of that crypto FUD, and except crypto court FUD. So they got rid of the paper. The Bitcoin Core website was modified to remove references to the white paper. Their local copy of the white paper PDF was deleted in less than 2 hours of public review. This change was merged. By surrendering in this way, the Bitcoin Core project has lent ammunition to Bitcoin's enemies, engaged in self-censorship, and compromised its integrity. This surrender will no doubt be weaponized to make new false claims like that the Bitcoin Core developers know, in quotations there, CSW to be Satoshi Nakamoto, and this is why they acted this way. The Bitcoin white paper was included in the original Bitcoin project files, with the project clearly published under the MIT license by Satoshi Nakamoto. We believe there's no doubt we have the legal right to host the Bitcoin white paper. Furthermore, Satoshi Nakamoto has a known PGP public key. Therefore, it is cryptographically possible for someone to verify themselves to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Unfortunately, Craig has been unable to do this. We will continue hosting the Bitcoin white paper and won't be silenced or intimidated. Others hosting the white paper should follow our lead in resisting these false allegations. So that's what Craig Redden did now, trying to actually have places removed. Here's the problem with this is that the Bitcoin white paper is literally everywhere at this point. I mean, you can just Google it and find it on, I mean, probably just hundreds of websites or locations. There's just really no way to have anybody take this down. I don't see that happen at all. But hey, good luck with that one, CSW. I don't know about that one. Moving on to a sort of another reason why we're in this dump right now. So for the past couple years, Grayscale has been buying an unbelievable amount of Bitcoin, and it sort of goes into these GBTC shares, and they're a portion of Bitcoin's price, and you buy a bunch of them, and they're effectively like Bitcoin stock because you're buying partial amounts of Bitcoin at a premium usually. And that premium is good because when you hold on to it for a long time, it goes up in price. And then when you sell it, you end up selling it to somebody else for that premium. However, during there used to be 1 year lockup periods when you would buy as an investor at Grayscale. Now they've been shortened to 6 months. So just after the lockup periods unlock, there's typically a rise in price, and just before that, there's after that price rise, it will typically dip afterwards. And this article here, I'm going to put this in the description below. This is a hackernoon article, and it goes by the title, Grayscale's Pump Effect Means 2021 Will Start Slow. And it was made on December 25th, and this was a few days before one of the 6-month lockup periods ended. And as you can see by the price of Bitcoin, indeed, it did go up. I mean, we were at 41,000 at the beginning of January, and have since dumped. So everything in this article is spot on correct, and you'll really want to read this. If you have a few minutes, read this. It could help with your trading. It could help with knowing why the price is going up and why it's going down. As I feel like Grayscale and some institutions and these bigger buying companies now are really setting the precedence of the price. I think the small investor like you and me are sort of getting priced out from being able to FUD the price downward. Now, we're seeing that right now at 30,000. I think we dipped to like 28 for a moment there. But as the price of Bitcoin gets higher and higher, your $100, your $1,000, your even $10,000, etc., is barely going to move the price of Bitcoin. It's barely even going to buy, a portion of a Bitcoin. Whereas years ago, at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 or something like that, it's a totally different story. It's a completely, putting $1,000 into Bitcoin that's $5,000 is wildly different than putting $1,000 in Bitcoin when it's 40,000, obviously. And the higher it goes, the less we're getting sort of priced out. That's why it's important to be buying your Bitcoin almost at any price when it comes to, now in 100,000. Because, I mean, there's not that much of a difference between buying a bunch of it at 40,000 or 35 or 30 when you're thinking of selling it at 100. A little bit, a percentage higher, but of course you always want to get the best deal. However, I just want to start at the bottom here. It basically shows when all of the buy-in periods and then the buy-in periods ended and they unlocked, there was a significant price in Bitcoin here. Unlock and then it goes up, unlock, it goes up, and so on and so on and so on. But it's the bottom portion that I really want to read to you. So you guys, if to understand this context a little bit more, you definitely want to read this article. I think it was really good. So basically, it starts off with these unlocking events coincide with significant price moves higher. So when they actually unlock, because there's multiple periods that are overlapping and unlock periods that unlock, and you have to wait to get in at a certain period, and then you can't sell for 6 months, but somebody else can buy in at a new period and sell past that. So for 6-month periods. And we had one on the 29th, which I believe it might have been the 26th, but basically this article is written before that, and it turned out to be entirely correct. So these unlocking events coincide with significant price moves higher. What's important to know is once these higher prices and premiums are realized after an unlocking period goes on to consolidate, this lets the premium shrink again before its next unlocking period. Combining this information with Jarvis and its data on spot purchases, it's clear Grayscale is driving the market. There's nothing more important for you to focus on. Even Three Arrows Capital is getting in on the game. They bought 21 million shares back in June of this year per the SEC Edgar filing system. So what does it mean? The next major unlocking is set to happen on February 3rd, 2021, meaning this time period from December 29th to the next unlocking will be void of unlockings. So there are no unlockings between the period of December 29th and February 3rd, which means this is all just going to be cooling down until after that when people buy into those high premiums again. This void enables premiums to shrink again, just like 9 times before, and it'll keep shrinking until the next unlocking. Because of this, I expect price to either consolidate or sag. Now, I say sag because the duration of the last unlocking is unprecedented. It unfolded over 9 weeks. The market is overextended after this huge rally. Combine this with what is typical over the holidays, lower trading volumes and lower levels of liquidity, then a scenario where momentum builds to the downside becomes very real. It's the holiday season. Many traders and trading desks are enjoying time with family and not coming into the office. And as this holiday season effect happens as a gap and unlocking events begins, there's a real opportunity for lower prices or consolidation over a 2-month period. This means Bitcoin might not be a great trade for the first 2 months of 2021, which this person definitely called that. And mind you, they called it before the price went up because of a premium unlocking. So it's definitely this guy is definitely on to something here when it comes to Grayscale. They're definitely leading the way in sort of the price increase, and I think, of course, the PayPal news and various other things affected it as well. If this is all true, it's likely that not till after February 3rd, and it might be a week or two after February 3rd, that prices are going to be going back up, or at least significantly. So we may have a couple months here, or by now it's January 21st, so we don't have that long. I mean, as this article was written a few weeks back, but in a few weeks, likely the price will be coming back. This means Bitcoin might not be a good trade for the first 2 months of 2021. And if we don't get any dramatic moves lower, expect ETH and altcoins to have an opportunity to play catch up. Indeed, they did. Again, this was written on December 25th. And they did play catch up. We've seen like $22 Chainlink. We've seen the $1,400 Ethereum. We've seen like 168 or 170 Litecoin, which is pretty good. Still far from the all-time high. And many, many other coins. We've seen Polkadot take over in the 4th position. So honestly, alts did go up quite a bit, and now that the momentum is ceasing again from the December 29th unlocking, after a few weeks, we started to really feel that sag where we're at now, and I think we have a little way to go. We have two or 3 weeks until a next locking, or a next unlocking. But either way, that's all I have for you guys. So again, the market cap dipped well below that 1 trillion mark now. We're at 897 billion, which is still pretty good, which I still think is actually higher than the 2017 era. So that's good. Bitcoin just has a little bit of a lower dominance. You can see that the altcoins did catch up, and Bitcoin went down because of it. But possibly after February 3rd, if that article is correct. So you guys should probably read that and just get like a better grasp on how Grayscale is initiating these lock-in and unlocking periods and why they correlate to higher prices, which is seen 9 or 10 times in the past, and every one of them was followed by some kind of pump, including the 2019 summer pump that was at the end of an unlocking period as well. If you guys remember the summer of 2019, where we seen like $12,000 or $13,000 Bitcoin. I think it might have even gotten close to 14,000, but basically like $13,000 Bitcoin, and then it sort of went back down after that, it for just seemingly no reason, and that might have been one of the reasons for that, as their unlocking period occurred around that time, or shortly before it. But that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video. It helps out the channel a lot. My social media in the description below. Memberships are active on the channel. Become a 400-foot underground crypto vault member today. And as usual, I'll see you guys next time.